Good afternoon and welcome to today's fire update. It's Sunday, September 3rd, and my name is Chris Barth, and I'm a Public Information Officer with BLM Montana-Dakotas. We're going to take a look at fire by the numbers around the region. We have continued to be in preparedness level 5 in the region as well as the country. We have just over 50 active fires for just over 500,000 acres and about 5,000 firefighters assigned to those fires. We have fires in nearly every part of the state, and we're going to be highlighting a few of those today. Before we do, we want to make sure that people understand that we are in red flag warnings. We're in red flag warning through the western Dakotas until 9 p.m. this evening, Sunday evening, and through nearly all of Montana except for the extreme southwest portion of the state until 9 p.m. on Monday evening. With all the fires happening around the state and in the region, there's a lot of smoke in the air, and people are always asking about the air quality. Make sure you find out what concerns and considerations you should have when recreating outdoors, especially for elderly, folks with respiratory illnesses, and the young. Looking at a few of the fires that are happening around the state right now, the Rice Ridge Fire continues to be the #1 priority in Montana again today. That fire is just over 40,000 acres, 18% contained, and the community of Seeley Lake is threatened and evacuation orders and warnings are in effect. The Sprague Fire, located just inside Glacier National Park, is just over 5,000 acres. Evacuation order for all residents and visitors from the south end of Lake McDonald to Logan Pass is in place. The Red Cross is opening a shelter for evacuees and Hungry Horse. Logan Pass remains accessible from the east side of the park. The Caribou Fire is 21 miles northwest of Eureka. That fire doubled in size on Saturday with a 4-mile run to the northeast. The fire is now just under 14,000 acres. A full evacuation order is in place for the West Kootenai area. An unknown number of structures were lost to the fire during the evening and overnight. The Lolo Peak Fire, located 10 miles southwest of Lolo, Montana, is just under 43,000 acres. New evacuations have been ordered by Ravalli County Sheriff, and those cover the area west of Highway 93 from the north side of Bass Creek Road, north of the intersection of Hannaford Avenue and Florence-Carlton Loop. A Red Cross evacuation center is open in Stevensville. Unfortunately, many Montanans have had to evacuate or been notified that they may need to evacuate their homes this summer. With the forecast looking out ahead, more evacuations might be necessary. Which begs the question, are you prepared to evacuate should you need to leave your home? Here are some tips on some things that you might want to quickly grab in the event you need to leave your home in an emergency.
So in this preparedness kit, we've got things like a first aid kit that hopefully you already have in your home, some flashlights, the battery separate from those flashlights so that they're still usable. We're going to make sure that we have a set of documents, both our personal documents and documents for any of our pets. Those include deeds, medical lists, medication lists, proof of address, emergency contacts for both your pets and your people. And it's always a good idea to have 1 gallon of water per person per day in your kit and have up to at least 3 days for that. You also need a gallon of water for your pets too. Another really great item to have in there is a weather radio of some kind. This little guy is solar powered and crank, and it'll also charge my cell phone for me. So the other thing that you want to make sure you have is something for kids. If you've got a little toy or some coloring books, to be able to make sure that if the power goes out, they've got something to occupy themselves.
By the way, the American Red Cross has a free downloadable app for some tools that can help you prepare in the event that you need to evacuate. For updated information on all fire activity around the country, including Montana, visit INCIWeb, inciweb.nwcg.gov. Looking at fire restrictions, we continue to have fire restrictions throughout Montana, covering nearly all portions of Montana. There are both Stage 1 and Stage 2 restrictions. Visit firerestrictions.us to learn what activities may be limited in the area that you live or plan to recreate. Looking at the fire stats and the number of acres that have burned so far this year in Montana, we have just over 1,600 fires burning just under 800,000 acres. Of that, 900 of those fires and just over 70,000 acres have been the result of human activity. So, do you think about what activities you're doing and how they might start the next wildfire? Make sure that your trailer chains are securely towed and not dragging along the highway, sparking potentially a new wildland fire. Make sure if you're allowed to have a campfire that it's completely out when you leave and don't leave it unattended. And Make sure that your vehicles have spark arresters if you're recreating outdoors. Thank you, and we'll talk to you again soon.